What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and beautiful people of the Crasher community? How are you guys doing today? We're back with a new video on the channel. Thank you very much for tuning on in, you absolute legends. And ladies and gentlemen, what an absolutely interesting thing to wake up to. We have got something pretty damn big to talk about. Johnny Somali pleads guilty in South Korean court after showing up late and hung over. Wow. I mean, we honestly shouldn't be surprised at this point. It is completely and utterly on brand for Johnny Somali. But imagine having the audacity to show up late to court and hungover. I'm sure the judge was so totally happy about that ordeal. Controversial streamer Johnny Somali finally made his long-awaited court appearance after terrorizing South Korea and pled guilty to the charges he knew about. On March 7th, 2025, Johnny Somali, real name Ramzi Khalid Ismail, showed up to court an hour late, wearing an oversized suit and a mega hat, which he was asked to remove multiple times. According to YouTube lawyer Legal Mindset, Somali, who has been staying with his streamer roommate Hank Yu, pled guilty to obstruction of business and 2 counts of violating the Minor Crimes Act. And just to add that extra cherry on top of the disrespect sundae, he shows up an hour late and he's dressed inappropriately to further incite antagonism. Well, let me tell you something, Johnny Somali. On the note of antagonism, you're gonna have to be dealing with that a lot, if you know what I mean, when it comes to Big Bubba and those 6 o'clock sessions that he demands out of you. However, Somali reportedly had no idea about the additional obstruction of business charge filed against him and moved to push his next court date to April 9th. So it looks like this saga is in fact going to continue with more appearances in court, this time for April 9th. I will be sure to keep you guys in the loop on that one, and holy shit, this right here just further reinforces the FAFO principle. Fuck around and find out. Somali had planned to stream the trial on Party, which would have found him to be in contempt of court. Going live on the app the day before the trial, he claimed he had a deal in the works to stream his court appearance. It's like the guy just has absolutely no concept of respect, no concept of thinking before doing, and absolutely no concept whatsoever of having a brain, because anybody with even half a brain would think twice before being in contempt of court, let alone doing the stupid shit that Johnny Somali, bum-ass Johnny Somali, has done in his streaming history. Like, genuinely, we really shouldn't be surprised when it comes to anything from Johnny Somali and his dumb assery, but man oh man alive, it does not take away from the cringe and humor factor, because we gotta ask, like, is Johnny Somali even real? Like, is he, like, just some sort of, like, elaborate, like, you know, experiment? Like, when it comes to testing the limits on the patience of the human race, when it comes to the utter amounts of stupidity that can be thrown at them? Like, this right here has to be some sort of elaborate ongoing scheme at this point, because really and truly, nobody can be this special with a capital R. It's time for a redemption arc, he said. I'm gonna try to be a better man. The trial is live tomorrow, and I will be live streaming the trial. Just hours before the start of the trial, Somali went live on Party again and got hammered to the point of throwing up in his friend's apartment. First off, shut the fuck up, because you had many times to redeem yourself, but you have proven every single time that you are an irredeemable piece of shit swamp rat bum-ass. Like, buddy boy, you have absolutely no concept of remorse or thinking before doing or learning from your mistakes. So to say that this is a redemption arc, kiss my ass. Also, I'm sure your friend thinks highly of you after you threw up in his apartment like a dumbass. For months, Somali wreaked havoc across South Korea with nuisance streams that royally upset both the country's politicians and citizens, including a former member of the South Korean Special Forces who KO'd the streamer in a must-see video. In fall 2024, Ismail sparked outrage across South Korea after he kissed the Statue of Peace, a monument meant to memorialize South Korean victims of sexual slavery by Japanese troops during World War II. Now, I'm not one to ever advocate for violence, but this right here is the result of actions having consequences and fucking around and finding out the hard way. And a very peak example of that would be being indecent with the Statue of Peace. This incident was even referenced during an October 30th meeting in the country's parliament, and shortly thereafter, the police came down heavy on the streamer. His broadcasts had given police a lot to work with and had hammered him with an assortment of charges. The first obstruction of business charge was in relation to the chaos he caused in a 7-Eleven. His 2 Minor Crimes Act charges are for allegedly harassing people with a dead fish and putting it in their faces, while the other was for a twerking incident on the subway. Obstruction of business can carry a maximum penalty of 5 years in jail, so it's possible that Ismail ends up being sentenced to 10 years behind bars, depending on how the trial plays out. In addition to the current charges against him, Somali's controversial broadcasts have featured a ton of other incidents that could result in even more charges being filed down the line. Thus far, he's been accused of violating anti-terrorism laws, threatening to sexually assault female streamers, drug use, creating AI deepfakes of other creators, violating the Railroad Act, and even spreading North Korean propaganda. Prior to his South Korean trip, Ismail has been kicked out of Japan for similar antics and later admitted to lying in Japanese court about not making money with his broadcasts. Like, honestly, at this point, if I was the judge, I would have thrown the entire book at him and get this piece of shit out of the public eye and off of our timelines permanently. Like, imagine racking up this type of history, this type of resume of bad things, and yet you still want to turn around and act like that you are worthy of a redemption arc. Literally, go fuck yourself all the way to hell, Somali. Like, you are a boil on the ass cheeks of life. You are a swamp rat, you are a clout chaser, and you are a terrorist. Oh, and by the by, him admitting that he lied in Japanese court, i.e. lying under oath, that right there is called perjury, my friend. And if you don't know what perjury is, well, let's just say that it carries a lofty consequence. So it sounds like that we're not exactly done with the Johnny Somali saga. It seems like that there's still more things that are yet to happen, and should that be the case, I will be sure to keep you guys in the loop on this. Also, side note, I typically try to do short form content when it comes to these sort of topics here, as they're rather straightforward. However, this right here was a pretty big development, and there were some important things to go over. So what are your guys' thoughts and opinions about the circus that is Johnny Somali? What are your guys' overall thoughts and opinions about what we talked about here? Be sure to leave them in the comments down below. I always love to hear back from you guys. And that's it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your time as well in viewing this video. Have yourself a damn good one, you beautiful people. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Remember to always stay humble, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.